Pretty cool. Hey, this is Metal Grove Radio, and I'm your host, Ryan Egan. Today I'm here with Jake Navarra from California. He plays guitar and takes lead vocals for Phantom Hound. The reason we're here today, talking today, is because I recently got to see Phantom Hound open for the band Saturna at the Yucca Tap Room in Tempe, and it was an amazing show. Like I hope you remember I was like right up by the speakers, just
Yeah.
yeah, it was amazing. I love your sound, and you guys played a great show, and I just love Yucca Tap Room too because you really get to meet the bands and talk with people, and it's a great small venue.
Yeah. No, it's awesome.
Yeah. So, well, thanks for talking to me today. How did the rest of the tour go? You guys went up and played some sort of festival. I forget the name of it. What was it?
Yeah, so we got connected with Saturna in early 2025 to play Planet Desert Rock weekend in Vegas.
Okay.
And we spent about a year building up and planning that run, and it was an absolute blast. By the time we got to Vegas, it was we were very hungry and ready for that audience, and I think they were pretty ready for us, because we were the first band on the first night. So, I had all these folks just flew out and, spent a lot of money on their travel arrangements and lodging and, tickets and stuff like that. And, they were all just like a pack of hungry wolves ready to, feast on the first thing that got thrown their way. So that was
Yeah.
pretty rad. Yeah, after Yucca, we had a great show in Sierra Vista
Okay.
and then kind of charged into Texas. And we got off on a great foot. And then we got kind of dealt a right hook by the winter storm that rolled through, and
Okay.
that severely affected. We had a couple shows in Houston and Arlington that had to get canceled, unfortunately,
Mm.
and we had to make the tough call to cancel those shows and then flee Texas on top of that. And it wasn't a moment too soon because had we not left on that Saturday, when we were supposed to be playing Houston, we ended up leaving, driving from Austin all the way back to El Paso that Saturday.
Oh,
And
wow.
had we not left when we did, we would have gotten frozen and stuck in Texas and possibly not have been able to make the rest of the tour happen.
Yeah.
So that was pretty dicey.
Yeah.
I've never driven through, I've driven through like blizzards and whiteouts, but I've never, I have a new definition of what an ice storm is, and just 20 degree winds of 20, 30 miles an hour at least,
Yeah.
and just everything was frozen, and we probably drove like 8 to 9 hours at 40 miles an hour, just cruising through the snow and trying to drive safely, but
Yeah.
yeah, it was great. We had a great time and made some great memories. And by the time we got to the desert, everybody was pretty excited to warm their bones into the desert sun. And, I have a whole new love and appreciation for Arizona. It's
Oh,
been a
yeah.
long time since I visited and driven the whole state. It was great to refresh my memory on what Arizona looks like landscape wise.
Yeah.
And it's just so beautiful. So
And remind me where you live? I forget
I'm
now.
in Oakland.
Okay.
And Carter, the new bassist, is in San Francisco, and the new drummer Wakar is in San Ramon. So we're all pretty nestled in the inner Bay Area for the most part.
Okay.
Yeah, it doesn't take long for any one of us to get to the other.
Yeah. Good. Good deal. Well, let's go back. I just want to ask, how you started, in music, playing guitar, or even, what got you into music when you were a kid, talk about that.
Oh, that would definitely be my Italian family as a whole got me into music. Growing up, for me, it wasn't a matter of if you were going to play an instrument, it was a matter of which instrument are you going to pick to play. And I had my grandparents asking me that. I had my aunts and uncles asking me that. Um, my grandfather and dad and uncles all played the accordion. They played the piano. I have a cousin in Chicago who is an incredible vocalist. She did a stint on Broadway when she was young. My grandma loved to dance when everybody was playing music. My brother played the trombone. I had a cousin on my mom's side who played the trumpet. And I started off on a clarinet. It was belonged to my grandfather when he was in the army, and I never took to the wind instrument very well. I hated swabbing it and cleaning it, and my lips would go numb, and
Yeah.
just dragging it around all the music classes and just feeling like a fly on the wall in the background. It never really, I didn't know what I was missing until I discovered the guitar.
Yeah.
My cousin was playing the trumpet, and he tossed the trumpet into the closet in exchange for the guitar. And I went over to his house once and just fell in love with the Fender Jaguar and thought it was like the coolest thing I'd ever seen in my life. And just kind of started my journey with guitar. And in addition to that, my parents grew up on Black Sabbath, The Doors, AC/DC were big, inspirations for me. Hearing Paranoid, my dad would play Paranoid on Saturday mornings at like 7 a.m. in the morning, and it was like kind of our alarm clock as a house
Oh my
for my
God.
brother and I to get up and have breakfast and start doing
Oh,
chores. My dad was a gardener, so he was very and he was a pretty bit of a hard ass. So it was like get up, do your chores, and
yeah.
he knew that would get us out of bed. So before I really even knew what Black Sabbath was, or hard rock or heavy metal or any of that, I was just like, what the hell is happening? It's 7 o'clock in the morning. Even my mom wasn't happy about it. She was already working on breakfast down in the kitchen, But that was kind of my early introduction to guitar music. That songs like War Pigs, learning that that was something that a guitar could create. All those drony sounds that Iommi was so known for, and
Yeah.
um, you know, L.A. Woman was a huge inspiration for me. My mom was a huge Doors fan, so she would just be playing the Doors all the time, and my parents like quizzed me a lot, and like, who do you know which musician this is? And they were very excited about that kind of stuff. So I kind of developed this like knack for studying that kind of stuff and knowing who they were. So I had the answer prepared when they would come around and ask me the same question a bazillion times.
Yeah.
And growing up in the Bay Area, everybody came through here. The 107.7 The Bone just constantly promotes all the like classic rock,
Yeah.
stuff. Having the San Francisco Haight Ashbury scene and stuff like that. We're very
Yeah.
fortunate to have just a lot of artists have come through here, and it's been a very eclectic music group. And Metallica's influence on the Bay Area has never really faded, even though they don't live here anymore. And
Yeah.
the thrash scene of the 80s and 90s in general. And yeah, so I mean, I was very fortunate in all that, but it wasn't until about high school that I started playing in my first bands and met some really great lifelong friends that were like the best thing to have ever happened to me. I don't think I ever really would have stuck with a guitar had I not met my good buddies, and we pursued music for like 10 years together, and eventually, went our separate ways for college and careers and children and life. And I found myself at a crossroads and got into welding and fabrication and started my career off in the trades. And then I started doing Hound at the time in 2013, and got in a motorcycle accident in 2014. And the E3 EP, which I'm very proud of, kind of got lost and covered in dust for a couple years as I navigated. I was very young in my career. I didn't have a lot of money, and had to sell off all of my gear to pay for medical bills, and just kind of was burned out on 10 years of music, and just took 2 years and never thought I'd go back to it until I did. And then it became Phantom Hound, and I just haven't stopped since. And my former bandmates, Jack and Steve, we did 2 records together and covered a lot of ground, and got signed to Glory or Death Records with Buddy Donner down in Oceanside. And that's, if it wasn't for that, I would not have met you in Tempe last month. So, and now I got Carter and Wakar in the rhythm section, and those guys, this was our first run together that you saw, and we just had an absolute blast, and everyone's really stoked. There's a really good energy, and we became fast brothers, by day 2 on this one, and lots of good laughs. And everyone's really pumped to start writing. And you heard we took quite a few new songs with us on the road. We spent most of last year on ice as the band was kind of rebuilt. Most people are aware of my medical stuff that I experienced last year, and so it just wasn't really wasn't really able to play or do much other than focus on health and whatnot. And it was great to step out and get after it on this tour with 100% good health and
Yeah.
a refreshed band with new songs. And it was just it was like it was a whole new machine, so it was pretty exciting.
Yeah, it was amazing. So let's see, I wanted to ask about because you told me the story about your gear, your stack, your orange speaker, the whole talk about that, the white orange.
Oh yeah, so I've always been a fan of Orange. I can't say enough good things about
And
just the tone. Orange doesn't need any introduction. If anybody's listening to this, you know what Orange sounds like. So,
yeah,
but yeah, so the cool story is for those of you who haven't seen us play, I play with a full Orange stack that the cabs are white, and I kind of came across the stack by chance. And during COVID, I had just a lower 412 that was orange, and interestingly enough, I bought it off this guy up in the North Bay area, out in like the farming area. It was just this random orange cab in the middle of nowhere on Craigslist, and the guy I bought it off of, he was clearly disconnected from the music scene for a long time, but he was like, back in the 90s, or late 90s, I went and saw this band called High on Fire. Have you ever heard of them? He was like, oh, it
oh
was such a cool set. And the second I saw High on Fire, I went out and bought an orange cab. And it was cool because the cab was like, the different, you could tell by the handles it was from a different era of their manufacturing.
yeah,
Um, but I ended up letting go of that band, another band, letting go of that cab. But during COVID, I decided to step up to a full stack, and I found the top cab was a white slantback that was in mint condition on Craigslist. And so I bought it, and I was rocking this half orange, half white orange combo for a couple of years.
okay.
And my buddy Max from a band called Mareware was gigging around Oakland with the lower cab that was white. And we played a show together, and we kind of, and as we were moving our gear across stage, we kind of had a laugh because both cabs were of the limited edition 2014 set. And
Yeah,
Max was just kind of like, it was kind of like that classic Spider-Man meme where all the
yeah,
different Spider-Mans are pointing to one another. Max and I were kind of like, what happened here? How is this?
yeah,
And Max is like, I don't even really want this cab. I want to move on to some different. He bought some cool like smaller cabs that are super powerful, but he was like, I think you should have this cab, man. This seems like it should be yours. And so he gave me a screaming deal on it, and then I ended up with this full white orange stack.
yeah,
And funnily enough, I really tried to buy the white orange dual dark that came out last year, and it sold out like within 24 hours. And then I saw High on Fire, and Matt Pike was playing with one, and I was like, Matt Pike wins again.
oh my God.
I was shooting for like a complete white stack, but I ended up with a
Yeah,
black Rocker Verb 100, which I'm super happy with. It's a complete versatile, high gain amp, and does everything I needed to do, and takes pedals really well. And those yeah, I'm just running the stock vintage 30s that come with it, and it's just like a warm blanket.
yeah,
You
yeah.
seem to enjoy it in
I
Tempe that night,
I was
so that was
I
pretty cool.
was I was so close to that thing. Yeah, just like I love that sound. It just goes through you too.
Yeah. Well,
It's
one thing that's really nice about it is when you run the full stack and you actually lower the amp to a lower wattage, it's just you can hear different tones out of the speakers that are much more detailed and crisp and clean,
okay.
and everything just becomes a lot more detailed. So it's like playing with this huge stack, but I'm actually keeping it quite low in volume and
Yeah.
amperage. So it's actually like a little bit more of a sonic milkshake rather than a half stack on 16 ohms and 100 watts, it'll, kind of be a little bit more jarring on the ears.
Yeah.
So it's kind of nice, but it's a lot to carry around. So it kind of just depends on the situation.
Yeah. So do you do that just like with the smaller venues, the lower?
Yeah, a good amount on this tour. I actually only played with one cab. We played some pretty small rooms, and I just played on 30 watts a lot of the time. But then we played some bigger rooms, and I'm able to throw both cabs together and throw it on 70 to 100 watts, depending on the. So it's cool because the amp can, if you're playing outside, you can, really fill out like an outside venue on full blast with both cabs, or you can play a quiet venue on the lowest amperage and keep it pretty chill. And it worked out pretty well in this tour because Saturna needed a second cab. So
Mm.
I just kind of volunteered my rig for the sake of the tour because it was easy rather than bringing a whole nother guitar cab setup. It didn't
Yeah.
really seem necessary. So, Max and James would use the cabs on their set, and then we would just put it into a full stack and, when Phantom Hound went on, and it worked out great. So,
Nice. Yeah. See, that stuff is so interesting to me because, and I don't really ask too many like technical questions about it because I don't know a lot about all that stuff. All these,
hmm
30 plus whatever years, 40 years I've been going to see bands. I don't really know much about that. So I like to ask, to learn about it and, to let other
yeah, it's
people
cool.
know. Yeah.
It's a fun thing to talk about because all of us musicians are always constantly nerding out on gear.
Yeah.
But it's like, when you're touring, it really makes a huge it occupies, I don't know, maybe 20-30% of your mental headspace to keep track of all your gear all night, and how you're going to set things up depending on the venue and what sound system you're going to walk into. You never really know what PA you're going
Yeah.
to be playing out of, especially when you're, a smaller band like us and you're playing smaller, anything from a dive bar to a like a a well-rounded venue, something like, Yucca Tap Room has a great sound system for a smaller bar, so it's kind of a, that guy did really good sound that night, and I'm really grateful for that, and it's one of the reasons I love playing there.
Yeah. It
So
is great
you
sound.
kind of got to be prepared for all situations as the traveling musician. So it's in your best interest to remain flexible and work with a sound guy, so you're not, killing yourself on stage, or trying to scream over your amplifier, or you're playing so loud that people are moving outside instead of watching you perform. I've experienced all those things in my younger years, and you kind of have to like check your ego, and like maybe you want your guitar to be a little louder, but like, is it what's it actually going to do? So it's in your best interest to do what serves the room and the sound guy, and if you have a good sound guy too, or sound woman, I should say. You can
Person.
really, yeah, sound person. Yeah, I mean, staying versatile is key for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a lot of work. I see those guys. I'm like, and then you just spend hours after the show too, with all your gear. Just,
Yeah,
yeah, I know. Let's see. I like to ask like different questions, not related to music too. Like, well, it's kind of related. Like when you're on tour, what do you guys like to eat? Do you cook for yourselves? Do you eat out? You know, what do you do?
it's a great question. This tour was really interesting for me because with my health, situation from last year, I had to radically change my diet, more so than I ever have in my life. So in order to take good care of my liver, I cut out alcohol, and I switched to a pescatarian diet, which means my only protein choice is either seafood or plant-based.
Yeah.
My bassist is a vegetarian, and my drummer pretty much sticks to chicken and beef.
Okay.
And so we all had kind of like
Yeah.
different needs.
Yeah.
But the great thing about this tour is we booked almost every hotel at Best Western, and so stocking up on a continental breakfast is key.
Yeah.
It saves so much time on tour.
Yeah.
Just go downstairs, get your breakfast. By the time you're done with breakfast, it's time to load up and check out and get on the road, and haul another 6 hours to the next city, check
Yeah.
into the next hotel, drop your gear off, and then get to the venue for load in. There really isn't much time for anything outside of that, depending on how far away the next show is. I'm very envious of East Coast bands because those guys can go to a major city in another state in a matter of hours
Oh yeah.
and can hit, multiple states in a 2 week run. Whereas us West Coast bands, we have to traverse deserts and mountains and
Yeah.
oceans of, high altitude driving and whatnot. And it's a bear because you're not really passing much on food options other than like fast food and gas stations. So, I mean, to answer your question directly, we pretty much stocked up on breakfast and skipped lunch a lot of the time, and then just got to the venue and either hoped that the venue would offer some food, or that there would be food nearby the venue. And from there, we pretty much order like late night takeout when we got back to the hotel at the end of the night because not many people, we don't really eat before we go on. You don't really, especially for me singing. Last thing I want to do is put like a spicy burrito in my belly and then just like go on stage 30 minutes later and try to sing with my diaphragm. It's just like I've learned that this is gonna like acid reflux is real,
Yeah.
So I try to go easy on myself and play defense in the long run on touring, and that worked out really well for me on this tour. I don't really feel the need to eat a couple hours before I go on stage. I'm usually just pretty like in my headspace in that regard. But
Yeah.
the other thing that we survived on that I gave my bassist a lot of shit for was since he's a vegetarian, he's just constantly slamming peanut butter. Every time I turn
Oh
around, Carter's slamming peanut butter, and he just straight up brought a loaf of bread and a tub of peanut butter on tour this trip, and that peanut butter and bread was there waiting for us every time when we got into the hotel room late at night, and that saved hundreds of dollars in DoorDash just
yeah.
eating a peanut butter sandwich and then passing out. So
Yeah.
it's amazing how much peanut butter can fill you up. So,
Yeah. Definitely.
but yeah, I think a continental breakfast is key on tour. It just saves time. Like if you're to load up your tour van and then go get breakfast and then go, I mean, you're wasting like hours.
Yeah. Definitely. Back to the music. I wanted to, you know, I I don't do this a lot, but because I think it's such a compliment to you guys, to you, your voice. I kind of hear some like Alice in Chains, Soundgarden type vocals, and your music, like musically, it feels like those heavier, Chain songs and Soundgarden, and that's kind of why like I like you guys so much because they were like my favorite bands, and like your sound is I don't know how to compare bands. I don't, it's just like your sound is your sound, but I feel like that quality of voice and also when you sing with the other guys, I know you had different guys on the albums, but like when you sing together with them too, like it's like that whole harmonizing, it's really cool. So
Oh,
uh
thanks, man. I appreciate
yeah.
that.
So how did you develop, your vocals? How did that happen?
Vocals kind of happened by accident. I used to just kind of mainly be a rhythm guitar player when I started off, and I was never really like a natural lead guy. And when I was in college, I fell and broke my left clavicle for a second time while skateboarding, and I was like, I never. So the first time I broke my clavicle, I didn't get surgery, but the second time when I broke it, I had to get surgery because it was like really broken. And because of that and the plate and all this, I was in a sling for quite a while and could not play guitar. And it was my left clavicle, so that's the side my strap sits on. So even when I was healing, it took a long time for the shoulder to feel good, like bearing a load.
Mm.
And I kind of peeled back from guitar for a long time. And during that time, I just started to sing. I would record scratch demos, really, really bad demos, in my college apartment, and just sit there with the guitar on my lap. And then I started to kind of experiment with singing. And I've always been, a huge fan of Chris Cornell and Lane Staley, and that's kind of where I decided to, or when I really got into those artists, I, I was like, that's the true North Star for me,
Yeah.
and just kind of set out on that journey. And I've tried really hard to, I don't want. I think everybody who's inspired by anybody tries at a certain point to, not sound exactly like your influences. So that's kind of like the game to some extent. But I take influence from a lot of musicians and artists, but Chris Cornell and Lance Staley are I don't think I'll ever be able to get that out of my DNA as a vocalist to some extent.
Yeah.
I'm also really inspired by Pepper Keenan, his work in
Uh,
Corrosion of Conformity, and that kind of that storyteller kind of influence has always been and also a huge factor.
yeah.
He's not really known for being a singer, but I love his work, and Deliverance and Wise Blood and America's Volume Dealer. Those three records are vocally I think fantastic,
Yeah.
and excited to see what they do next as well. But yeah, took a long time. I've taken some lessons over the years to kind of develop stamina and make sure I'm taking care of my vocal cords. So it's kind of a moving target. A lot of people don't necessarily talk about vocal work and training and practice and stuff like that, but
Yeah.
there's a lot to be explored in that region. So if
Yeah.
you're listening to this, start singing. It's a blast. Don't run from it. Run towards it.
Yeah.
Everyone's got a voice, and backing vocals are essential. So we're gonna explore that. I'm gonna be teaching Carter how to sing soon and get him on the next record, and we're gonna have some fun with it.
Nice. Great to hear. Yeah. I noticed also too, because you mentioned doors, you have a little bit of like spoken, word too. Just I thought that was interesting because um there's some Doors, songs where he does that, and it actually did remind me because I was like my friends were like way into the Doors, and um
Yeah.
yeah, I like that style too, where it's kind of
Yeah, I mean, growing up on that, I was always like, I mean, my mom introduced me to vocals from like Jim Morrison's perspective, from like a perspective of poetry. Excuse me.
yeah,
And I never really knew I never really knew how to like kind of bring that influence all the way to the forefront
uh-huh,
until I kind of discovered All Them Witches and how Parks is able to do a lot of the spoken word in that. And I, was like, oh, maybe I'll try and do, bridge something here. And we experimented with it a little bit on the last record, and I think it really works quite well in Waterways, and Eyes Upon Riches has some spoken word at the end, and that was really fun. It gave the whole record like a different vibe, and Jack and Steve and I were just trying to sprinkle in as much ear candy as we could on that record, and kind of really expand the sound from Mountain Pass, which was like far more raw and kind of just grit.
yeah,
So we were trying to make the record a little bit more expansive, and kind of like all ideas were on the table at the time, and I'm really grateful for that because I think that it really gives that record something truly unique. So I'm excited to kind of continue that exploration and see what happens in the future.
yeah. I really like it because it has like a whole theme of, from Boomtown to Ghost Town, and yeah, that's I like the whole, prospector thing, and it's a really interesting theme, something, because you guys are from that area, San Francisco too.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, growing up out here, all of our field trips as kids were, to either some railroad camp or some old gold rush site or some historical location, and especially, Oakland, San Francisco.
yeah,
And it's always been a part of my fascination with living here. I think, part of why San Francisco is as world famous as it is, even though it's ancient history for a lot of people.
yeah,
It wouldn't be what it is without the gold rush and all that initial onslaught of history and character
yeah,
and wealth. So when COVID happened and quarantine happened and the years after quarantine, it kind of felt like this full circle kind of Ouroboros like situation, because this area has gone through that many times in the past, with the decline of the gold rush and the earthquake and the fires and economic growth and expansion and stuff like that. It kind of felt like a good homage to what we were experiencing at the time. There's
yeah,
still a lot of restaurants that have closed, but we have a lot of restaurants that have opened since we put that record out, and so there's kind of like a lot of new growth happening right now, which is really exciting because
mhm,
I think a lot of people that are probably pursuing that kind of career, whether it's a restaurant or a bar or something like that, know how risky it is. So there's like a lot of, I don't know, edge to this situation where
yeah,
like these people know that's like all on the line, so to speak.
yeah,
So luckily crime's a little bit better nowadays. And in 2021, 2022, it was like, man, petty crime was constant. Catalytic converters, smash and grabs, you know, robberies in plain sight. I mean, a lot of the all the chain stores have left.
Yeah.
So there's there's a bit of a birthing ground for new businesses to come in and roll the dice, so to speak. So
Yeah.
it's kind of exciting to kind of see where things are going.
Yeah, that's interesting to see kind of the same cycles that you guys have gone through throughout the years. Well, I guess just last thing here is, you talked a little bit about it, but maybe if you talk about like your future plans, things coming up.
Yeah, we're all pretty excited about that. We've been talking about it nonstop since we got home. We're looking at to try and play some more, get on some more of these festivals in the future. That was like a big first for us, and a lot of people really embraced the band and the sound and the songs, and it was really cool talking to folks like you and many others who really dug the album artwork and the story and kind of what we're trying to do, brand wise, if you will.
Yeah,
So we're pretty excited about all that. Feels like a whole new horizon with the new band guys, and we're looking to get in and start writing and continue writing and cut album number three sooner than later,
yeah,
and play locally some more and kind of get back into the local circuit and continue playing out as much as we can. We all have full-time jobs and kids and stuff like that, so those variables make it hard to just completely detach and tour all year long. So trying to juggle, one foot in the 40-hour work week and the other foot in the wild west of
yeah,
touring and gunslinging is kind of tricky.
yeah.
But gets a little easier each time we go and try to figure out how to do it. So I think recording is probably what we're going to be doing more so of coming up next, and getting Wakar and Carter on an album and turning a page sonically and continuing to play and working on improving our live set and returning to Planet Desert Rock and maybe Hufferfest in Denver next year. Uh, yeah, we're looking to travel and get out and keep pushing. So all everything's on the table.
Good, good to hear. Well, I look forward to seeing you next time you guys come through Yucca or wherever.
Yeah, we're excited.
Yeah. Thanks so much, Jake, for talking to me today, and we'll keep in contact.
Yeah, thank you.
All
It's been
right.
a pleasure.
Yeah, take care.
All right, buddy. You too. Bye.